established on July 4th, 1854, feared by all, a secret order of Southern sympathizers, the Knights of the Golden Circle. The KGC explored the idea of creating a slaveholding empire. They encountered resistance from the opposing North in the Civil War and exchanged information and deeds with the Southern Confederate. The Knights of the Golden Circle, KGC, or the Copperheads, had a goal to create a slaveholding empire consisting of the southern U.S., West Indies, Mexico, and parts of Central America. Centering on Havana, this empire would measure 2,400 miles in diameter, hence the name the Golden Circle. Creating this slaveholding empire would give the KGC the monopoly on the world supply of tobacco and sugar. The KGC were a secretive organization formed on July 4th in 1854 by 5 men when called upon by George W. L. Bickley, a Virginian-born doctor, editor, and adventurer. The KGC are known to have had close association with the Ku Klux Klan, whose first of 3 clans started in 1865 and ended in the 1870s. President Lincoln once referred to the KGC efforts against the North as the Fifth Column. Many famous people from the Civil War era, such as John Wilkes Booth and Jesse James, belonged to and acted under the influence of the KGC. The KGC became active in the years 1858 through 1860 when Bickley started a campaign across the southern states. The annexation of Mexico was an essential first step. Bickley created 32 castles, or local chapters, and mini-cities from Houston, Galveston, Austin, San Antonio, to Marshall, Jefferson, and LaGrange. Governor Sam Houston was courted by Bickley and supposedly was an initiate to the KGC, but did not become an active KGC member because of his distaste to their anti-union stance. Later in 1860, Bickley failed to show up with reinforcements from New Orleans to back a small force that was ready for the invasion of Rio Grande. The attack was called off due to Bickley's failure in providing backup. In New Orleans, Bickley was publicly attacked by a group as a liar, coward, and inept leader. In response, Bickley called a KGC convention for May 7th through 11th in 1860 that confirmed him as the leader of the KGC. The KGC were grouped into 3 divisions: military, commercial and financial, and political. In turn, each division was divided into 2 classes. For example, military had the Foreign and the Home Guard. Bickley had created an army of at least 16,000 men. Late in 1860, he developed a second plan for the invasion of Mexico. The KGC bought arms and ammunitions, drilled in military tactics, commissioned their own major generals, and prepared for active field operations. The second mission for the annexation of Mexico was aborted so that more attention could be focused on the presidential election. The KGC schemed to have Abraham Lincoln elected to cause secession in the South. The Civil War starts on April 12th in 1861. On one side was the Confederate States of America, which included the states Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Florida, North and South Carolina, Virginia, Alabama, Georgia, and Louisiana. On the other side was the United States of America, which included the states California, Oregon, Kansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indianapolis, Ohio, Michigan, West Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Vermont. There were also border states that included Missouri, Maryland, and Kentucky. KGC leaders mostly served in the Confederate Army during the Civil War, and not in the Society's military division. An example of this is Elkanah Greer, who served as a colonel in the Confederate Army for the 3rd Texas Cavalry Unit. In the year 1863, from July 1st to July 3rd, the most deadly and bloodiest battle ever fought on American soil takes place. The Battle for Gettysburg takes 46,286 lives total, 23,055 Union soldiers, and 23,231 Confederate soldiers. The KGC got greater attention during the war because of their treasonous plots called the Northwest Conspiracy, or the Copperhead Movement. Joseph Holt, a U.S. Judge Advocate General, gave Secretary of War Edwin Stanton a report in October 1864 that warned Stanton about these plots. The KGC also called for the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. On April 15th, one of America's darkest days, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States of America, was assassinated in Ford's Theater by one of the KGC's subordinates, John Wilkes Booth, an American stage actor. John Wilkes Booth and his co-conspirators also planned on killing Vice President Andrew Jackson and Secretary of State William H. Seward. These attempts were failed. The conspirators planned on escaping to the south across the Potomac River. Instead, they were caught at the Garrett Farm in Virginia. David Harold surrendered to the Union soldiers, but Booth refused and was killed by Union Sergeant Boston Corbett in the burning Garrett Farm tobacco barn when he supposedly rose his gun to shoot at Union soldiers, but instead was shot. Victory by the Union in the Civil War destroyed the cause for which the KGC was created and acted upon. This is said to have brought an end to the organization's existence. Reports of KGC activity kept circulating for years after the war, but there was no reliable evidence to prove these 100% true. There are many conspiracies that can't be proven right, but that can't be proven wrong either. Many famous ones include that Jesse James, the famed bank and train robber, also member of the KGC, was stealing for the KGC to fund another civil war, and that the KGC buried the millions of stolen dollars in locations across the southwestern United States. The Civil War claimed around 620,000 lives. That's about 93 times as many casualties as the 6,626 casualties in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Civil War had a large impact on the U.S. The war took its toll in the South, destroying a good majority of it. The war brought upon us one of America's darkest days, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. The KGC explored the idea of creating a slaveholding empire. They encountered resistance from the opposing North in the Civil War and exchanged information and deeds with the Southern Confederates. I believe that this topic is important in history because it is so often left out of our textbooks and our lessons. I hope that you all enjoyed watching this video and that each one of you has learned something about the KGC. I want to thank everybody who assisted me in creating this video.